I don't know how to put the images on Instagram, um, but I wanted to talk about um, Israel today. And Kelly on Instagram, she posted something that she read, and it's a briefing document. Israel high tech, Israel high technology and espionage. But I wanted to read it. I thought it was interesting. Um, she read it. I just want to start reading it. I have it here on the screen. Hopefully, I can. Let me see. Let me put it back to. Hopefully, I can read it. I may just pull it up behind it and look at it, but it's on the screen. Let me get started on it. Just start reading it. Briefing document: Israel high technology and espionage. Ramifications of Israel domination of cyber technology in the age of AI and its relationship to Russia and China. How it can be exploited by the Arab world for political leverage. Israeli domination of the world's high technology sector is little known and little understood. This document seeks to summarize and extrapolate on the ramifications of allowing the world's high technology defense and research and development infrastructure to be situated in Israel. Example, few even in the IT industry, know that the most advanced Intel CPU design and fabrication facility is in Israel, as well as Intel Haifa Development Center of Hardware and Software for Processors and AI, Intel Petah Tikva Development Center for Communication and Artificial Intelligence Solutions, Intel Jerusalem Global Development Center of Autonomous Cars, Mobile Eye Development Center for Communications, SW, and Cybersecurity Solutions, Intel Kiryat Gat, Intel's most advanced manufacturing facility. Few in the intelligence and IT industry know that the key core technology components of the emerging 5G IoT artificial intelligence world were designed in and currently maintained in Israel. An emerging industry narrative containing online journals and news articles speak boldly of Israel's central role in cyber technology defense, hardware, and software. The general mainstream discourse rarely touches on the security implications of this move. Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, has stated boldly at cyber technology conferences in Israel that Israelis now dominate the emerging fourth industrial revolution, hardware and software. In fact, he is quoted as saying, Israel is a cyber technology juggernaut. It is now well documented by such authors as Lily Galilee, opinion piece writer for Haaretz, that the high technology industry in Israel is dominated by Russian and Ukrainian computer scientists, missile technicians, aeronautical engineers, and material scientists. This is an open door conduit for Russian GRU, military intelligence, and SVU, KGB, to infiltrate the American high technology sector via easy Israeli visas and citizenship. Former Russian GRU, Avigeny Kaspersky, stated in Times of Israel newspaper article, from Jerusalem shall come forth cybersecurity, says Cyber Guru. Few mainstream or online journals and news outlets mention or discuss the ramifications of the close relationship between Benjamin Netanyahu and Russia's President Vladimir Putin. With American security concerns on Russia's election interference and high technology acquisitions in general, it is inconceivable that the Western intelligence services appear to have failed to grasp and address the Israeli state as a backdoor conduit for American high technology illegal transfers to Russia and also China. So now we know how all this stuff is going to happen. Now we have a pretty good indicator. Now we know that um, I entitled this Israel, Home of the Beast. And I say this because once we start reading and we start uncovering, well, what is all this conflict about? Behind this conflict, we really have an alliance between Russia, China, and Israel. Like I told you all before, these global powers are going to come together and go against the U.S. And I told you all before that Joe Biden is a globalist. That means his agenda is to globalize America, which is make America a part of the greater world as a system. No more, again, no borders. It's all one country or one land, global citizen, United Nations, etc. One world government. But let me get Bloomberg reports that China repeats its view that Israel must protect civilians. So China basically, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi reiterated that Israel must protect civilians even as it defends itself, while also telling his Palestinian counterparts that China deeply sympathizes with the difficulties his people face. So you see China is already playing both sides of the fence. If I go to another article from Reuters, China will do utmost to contribute to Palestinian-Israeli reconciliation, state media. What's funny to me is that now we see China playing the peacemaker. Now we see China coming in and saying, "Oh, let's y'all need to stop the fighting. Let's come together." Isn't it funny that to you all that now everybody's able to go against Israel? Isn't it funny that now everybody's able to go against Israel with no consequence? Think about it. Now, conveniently, I can side with Palestine and nothing happened to me. There's folks even siding with Hamas, nothing's happening to them. So wait a minute. Now, just last year, if I said something about the Peter pandemic, I got my account shut down. But now, a year later, I can talk about the Peter pandemic and talk about Israel. Wait a minute. Y'all don't think it's a setup? All of a sudden now I can talk about the Peter pandemic and I can talk about Israel with no consequence. People lost their careers behind the Peter pandemic and these snake bites. Now we can talk about it freely. Now the liberals can talk about it. Isn't it convenient that right around the time you're able to talk about the snake bites and the Peter pandemic, you're also able to go against Israel? You don't think it's a setup? You don't think it's just a bit convenient that right around the time we're able to talk about the Peter pandemic and the snake bites, we're also able to go against Israel and side with Palestine? Isn't that just a bit convenient? Y'all don't think it's a setup? Y'all don't think it's a setup? We just read the document. I'm going to read some more of it. How Israel is the hub, the foundation of the fourth industrial revolution, the foundation of 5G, the foundation of technology is Israel. So I entitled this Israel, Home of the Beast for a reason, because they're going to lead the way with the mark of the beast. Now you can talk about Israel with no problem. Now all the woke people are on board with Palestine. How convenient. What happened? Where was I? And no one thinks this is strange. I'm going to simplify it for you, Kenya. I'm going to simplify it. So basically, we have a strategy. And the strategy is always divide. You have to have divide. So if you think about it, you had the Russians and the Ukrainians. You had the war. But the war couldn't divide the people on a moral issue. It was political. So you have folks saying Ukraine is not a part of NATO, so we shouldn't be funding the war. The other side saying, well, Putin is a threat to democracy worldwide. That's not really a tie-in. The Ukraine-Russian Willy Wonka war is not really a tie-in, because that war is really about money going to the war. It's no real draw-in for the people. It's hard spinning a narrative against Putin when you got Biden in office. It's difficult. It's difficult to point the finger at Putin when Joe Biden's in office. It didn't work. They tried the Ukrainian flags on the streets. They tried it with social media. It just didn't work. They tried the propaganda. They tried the footage. It just didn't work. But now we got Israel. And now we got Palestine. And now they flooding your timeline with images of death, destruction, and damnation. This is how they draw you in. This is how they draw you in with all this imagery. You got Hamas. How did it go from Hamas, a supposed terrorist group, to now we talking about we support Palestine? Now it's okay to support Palestine. So now they're telling you, you either go side with Israel or you're going to side with the Palestinians. But let's dig deeper. You're either going to side with white or you're going to side with black. Everything comes back to the racial component. This is why they're attaching black faces to Palestine. This is why they're attaching all the whites, conservative whites, to Israel. It's the same dynamic. They just got everybody to get back on board with the divide. They don't even realize what's even going on. All the while, Israel is cool with China and Israel is cool with Russia. China has the numbers, Russia has the guts, and Israel has technology. And all of them operate as communists. Let's not get it twisted. In Israel, they was terrorizing their citizens when it came to that snake bite. If you didn't get the snake bite in Israel, you was cast out of society. So I don't have to check and see if Israel is a moral nation. I can look how they treated their citizens. You know, all these countries were on board with this Peter pandemic. So for as much fighting is going on now, just know that everybody was on the same page when it came to you and I. When it came to the common man and woman and child in this world, all the governments said we're all going to agree on terrorizing our citizens. That's why I don't put any stock into any war. Because I know what happened when the world was unified. They turned on the people. They turned on the people. So now they got everybody divided again. You support Israel or you support Palestine. Nowhere in the middle. Then you got China coming in playing peacemaker. The irony of China terrorizing the people in China, the Uyghurs, its own citizens, the Christians, terrorizing folks in China, the Muslims. China is terrorizing the folks in China, but going somewhere else to make peacemaker. Joe Biden skipping over all the problems he created in America to go send money overseas. It's a setup. It's a setup. It's a setup. Let's continue reading. Let's continue. Hold on, let me get to it. Okay. With intense scrutiny of communist China by the Western intelligence services, it is inconceivable that the close relationship between Israel and China is not being openly discussed as the extreme high-level national security risk it poses. An article by Dr. Christian Lin, Bouting's Map in Israel on China's New Silk Road, sums up Israel's central role linking Europe, Asia, and Africa and the desired destruction of the Arab states that encircle Israel. It is also in Israel that the vital data from the fiber optic cables will intersect from those three countries. So now we have Israel coming. Now we have Israel bringing together three nations, three continents. Europe, Asia, and Africa. So we already see the precursor for the Antichrist. We already see it taking place. Few, even in the IT industry, know that the Microsoft Windows Security Center and the core components of the world's #1 operating system are coded in Israel at its Microsoft headquarters. Windows is used routinely by the world's corporate sector, small and medium businesses, governments, educational institutes, high security military, industrial contractors, etc. As mentioned above, this is handled by Microsoft Israel, not Microsoft in Seattle, Washington. So, get back to that. So, as we see, what's connecting the world through computer programming is in Israel, Microsoft. So it's headquartered in Israel, not Seattle. So we already see behind all this rhetoric and this and all this smoke and mirrors, we see that Israel's behind the scenes connecting everything through technology, cyber optics, Fourth Industrial Revolution, 5G. This is Israel now. Nobody's mentioning this. They got you worried about what? Palestine and Israel. But what's going on behind the scene? Oh, China, Russia, Israel, all in cahoots, Africa. What's going on? Oh, okay. 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 Now, y'all should have known these last 3 years should have been very eye-opening for you all. And you all should have what they call, you all should have been gamed up by now. You all should have been seasoned like a tasty steak by now. Because what you all saw over the last 3 years should have had you questioning everything. They made the whole world put something in their body based on a lie. If that didn't wake you up, nothing will. But now we see behind the scenes that Israel is dominating the technology industry. Okay, let's go. See, they told you it was China. It's not China, it's Israel. Okay. Microsoft Israel handles the security for voting machines in the United States. Oh, really? As we speak, the massive and high security Pentagon cloud contract, JEDI, and all security issues associated with it are being handled by Microsoft Israel, though this is currently under a court-ordered injunction by Microsoft competitor Amazon. Former head of Microsoft Israel, Asaf Rappaport, was Israeli military intelligence trained under their elite unit 8200, the equivalent of the NSA, and Talpiot program. The Talpiot program is a specialist unit that produces high technology CEOs and places them all over the world. Many mistake those companies as US based. They are not. They are Israeli companies with Israeli CEOs or dual national American Israel CEOs trained under Israeli military intelligence for at least 7 to 10 years. The ongoing security flaws issues with Intel CPUs can be tied to Israeli CPU design technicians. The current Intel 10nm disaster can be speculated can be speculated to involve design flaws that cannot be micro-coded around in the short term, rendering Intel's flagship CPU essentially worthless. The authors of this brief but forward the proposition that the design flaws are in fact hardware backdoors to the very heart of the CPU, allowing covert access to computer systems. US-based cybersecurity researchers Christopher Domas spoke at a conference in 2018. At that conference, he elaborated on his research into the DEC, deeply embedded core, present in Intel processors that allow total access to a target system. The DEC can be activated via multiple machine code instructions set and bypass all hardware and software security. There is intense speculation this hardware backdoor was conceived and implemented in Israel. So now we can see that they're already preparing us for this cyber attack. And if anybody wants this, I can send it to you via email. But they already have the setup for this alleged cyber attack. So we already know that if the the operating systems already have a backdoor into the main brains of the computer, then we already know it's a setup. We already know it's a setup. They designed them. Essentially, you design a computer to be hacked. You create a program that is hackable. This is done on purpose. And keep in mind, Yuval Noah Harari is always talking about humans being hackable animals. So they're already setting all of this up. They're already setting all of this up. And I would love to go to Israel and see how Christians are treated in Israel. I would love to see it. Somebody just brought that up. I would love to see it. So now, so basically, Israel is leading the world of technology. Israel's technological system is already created to be hacked. They've already set us up. Now, keep in mind, most folks won't even listen to this because they focus on what? You're going to pick Israel, you're going to pick Palestine. And they put you in a moral dilemma. How'd they do it? They put you in a moral dilemma because they let the Hamas strike first. Now, it's already been established that Israel's military system or defense system was down for 7 hours. During the time it was down, nobody knows why, Hamas attacked. The defense is so good in Israel, they say they call it the Iron Dome. Israel brags about how great their security system is, but how as great as this security system is, some rebels, some rebels using guerrilla warfare tactics was able to implement it and kill innocent Israelis. It was down for 7 hours. So now, yeah. But anyway, so we can see they're already setting this up. Now, many people want to make this about something else, but I'm telling you what this is about. This is setting the stage for the mark of the beast. We already see right here, it's clear that Israel is dominating the fourth industrial revolution and 5G and all that stuff. So, and all their programs are able to be hacked. So we already see it's a setup. Now, it was mentioned in 2018, but nobody cared. You know why? Everybody worried about Trump. It was mentioned in 2018. Nobody cared. Everybody was focused on Trump. That's the media's job, is to give you a dance and a song in front of your face. Meanwhile, they do all kind of nefarious stuff in the back. But all the nefarious stuff behind the curtain can be found, can be seen if you just don't watch the show and just go behind the curtain. Isn't it ironic that in The Wizard of Oz, I said this before, in The Wizard of Oz, who found out that the wizard was a phony? Think about it. Who found out that the wizard was a phony? Was it Dorothy? Was it the Scarecrow? Was it the Tin Man? Was it the lion? It was the dog. You know why it was the dog? Because the dog is not entertained by the show that the wizard is putting on. Toto don't care about what the wizard talking about. He don't care. Toto is a dog. And one thing dogs do is investigate. So Toto's in that room and Toto smelt another person in the room. He said, I smelled a lion. I smelled a rusty tin man. I smelled the hay on the scarecrow. And I smelled Dorothy. But I'm smelling something else. And the dog, Toto went over there and pulled the curtain back. And if you go back and watch the movie, the curtain is pulled. The wizard's in plain view, and they still looking at the show. Toto went over there and pulled the curtain back, and they still looking at the show. So, same thing going on right now. There's a show going on, but this is the behind the curtain. Let's continue. Israel is renowned for its backdooring of hardware and software and espionage in general against the United States and others. The result of the current Intel 10nm CPU design delay disaster meant that as the security flaws were made known at the beginning of 2018, Spectre and Meltdown, Intel's main competition, Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, produced their first, most efficient and faster processor family, Zen 2 architecture. These CPUs are moving far ahead of Intel in the price, power draw, and performance. There is no date for the release of the Intel 10nm Ice Lake ring of processors, which are already over 18 months behind schedule. This means the world's most advanced consumer CPUs, server desktop laptops, are now built by Taiwan Semiconductor, TSMC, in Taiwan, just across the straits of Taiwan and China. This same facility designs and manufactures AMD and NVIDIA graphics accelerator cards, which are vital to the world's supercomputer industry and AI research and development. The geopolitical implications are enormous given China's insistent claims on Taiwan. So now you know why China wants Taiwan. But really, China gonna get Taiwan for Israel. China's going to get Taiwan for Israel. Conclusion. This information can be leveraged in a media and political lobbying campaign. There is already CIA and military agitation on this issue. There is a growing community of U.S. intelligence officers that recognize the danger ahead. Former counterintelligence officer Philip Giraldi and CIA analyst Ray McGovern, former U.S. Army War College Director of Studies Dr. Alan Sobrowski, FBI translator Sibel Edmonds come to mind. We, the authors of this brief, suggest urgent dialogue begin on this issue, specifically addressing the deeper and more detailed research by suitability qualified academics in the relevant field. Information technology, cybersecurity, electronic hardware manufacturer, national security, and political science specialists. We have cited less well-known issues that are affecting the Middle Eastern Arab-Israeli relations in this small brief. This lack of debate brings an incomplete understanding of current issues. This leads to poor formal and informal policy decisions and strategies that never address the central issue of Israel and its role as a cyber technology juggernaut with potential fourth industrial revolution leadership of the emerging global new world order over and above even the United States. Israel's well-documented espionage against the United States and close relationship with economic and military rivals to the United States could be easily leveraged by Arab world against Israel. Statements such as Israel's violation of basic human rights, violation of international law, and direct attacks on Palestine infrastructure hold little sway in the corridors of power in the U.S. State Department of Pentagon, CIA, and NSA. But statements that Israel is stealing U.S. high technology products and selling onto Russia and China do get the immediate attention of powerful U.S. interests. Statements that Israel is stealing my money / intellectual property get the attention of powerful U.S. establishment interests. Statements that Israel has placed backdoors in central U.S. based companies' hardware and software get the attention of powerful interests. And finally, in the emerging IoT and AI New World Order, statements that Israel is seeking worldwide dominance in the area gets attention of powerful U.S. interests. Israel is a worldwide cyber technology power. It has subverted completely the United States high technology industry and military industrial complex. The largest of the U.S. high technology companies are moving their most sensitive R&D centers to Israel. It is a hostile foreign power. The the United States, hold on, it cut off. I'm sorry. It is a hostile foreign power to the United States. It is coordinates false flag attacks upon the U.S. to blame on Arab Muslim world. Israel was a clear and present danger to the United States and the world in general. It is a self-evident the approach of sympathy to the Arab-Palestinian world and its issues only goes so far in relatively small grassroots specialist circles. A more cold and clinical approach along the lines of economic and national security self-interest must be expanded upon and adopted to counter Israeli expansionism and the setting up of greater Israel and the destruction of Arab resistance to Israeli homogeny in the region. This came from Europe. This was actually done in February 20th, February 2020 in Beirut, Lebanon, February 28th of 2020, right before everything shut down. Ironically, this came out right before everything shut down. But I read all that to say that we can all agree that if China is coming in playing peacemaker, there's a setup. I mean, we can all agree that if China's coming in saying we want y'all to be at peace with the Muslims and we want the Jews and the Muslims to come together and be at peace, we know it's a setup because we know that China's not known for peace in their own country. So clearly, if China's stepping in and Israel is cool with Russia and China, we should know that this is, come on. We should be able to see the writing on the wall. We should be able to see it. Let me get to these super stickers. Let me go through and say what's up to everybody on here first. Let me go to say what's up to everybody on Instagram. What's up, everybody on IG? Let me say what's up to everybody on YouTube. I'm sorry. Son of God Sam said, if this blew up before the Peter pandemic, it was a cover. I agree. Because now we see that behind all the smoke and mirrors, it's Israel actually running the world through technology. This is the fourth industrial revolution. Think about it. Who runs the fourth industrial revolution is going to run the world, just like America was the steamroller of the industrial revolution, no pun intended. But America led the industrial revolution, the first industrial revolution. So now we have Israel leading the fourth industrial revolution. What's up, Broski Bear? What's up, Ross Witty? What's up, Agatis Navi? What's up, Soin for Night? What's up, Jahan? Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you so much. What's up, King Tabernacle? What's up, Dominique? What's up, Tiana? What's up, Cruz Mitz? Thank you for the super sticker. What's up, Kenya? What's up, Shaloyd Hammersey? What's up, Namakula? What's up, Nas? What's up, Leatherface? What's up, Miss Reed? What's up, Soin for Night? Thank you for the super sticker. What's up, A Honeycut? What's up, Agent 48? What's up, Broski Bear? What's up, Dead or Alive? What's up, Jay Green? What's up, Agent 48? What's up, Angel Wings? Um, what's up, Arbo? What's up, Boris? Thank you for the super sticker. Glad to finally catch you live after a long time, Uncle Blanche. Appreciate it, Boris. What's up, JoJo? Thank y'all again for these super stickers. Thank y'all so much. But I read that document. I read that document to let you know that usually when you see something that the media wants you to see, it's distracting you from something. Growing up, they used to have like cartoons and TV shows and all this stuff that was giving us so much information about how the world really operated, but we just took it as entertainment. But to me, a great film is The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz. You think about it, The Wizard of Oz like has streets of gold. There was an Emerald City. You got to go to Munchkin Land. It was ruby slippers. It was all this stuff. But at the end of it, it was all contrived because the person that ran Oz was a fraud. The person that ran Oz wasn't even from Oz. He was from Kansas, ironically. He was from where Dorothy was from. But anyway, but we know that when there's a show in front of us, there is something else behind the scenes. And so the job, I think it's a term, it talks about bread and circus. Think about how they have fast food. Think about that for a second. Fast food. What does fast food essentially do? Fast food essentially takes you out of the home. Now, when I was coming up many moons ago, we would get fast food was a treat. And when you got fast food, you ate it as a family, but it was a treat. Now people live off of fast food. Fast food was supposed to be convenient. Now we found that it causes cancer, but they made it cheap. They have a dollar menu. We got a question that if a Snicker bar costs more than 5 pieces of chicken, we got to question the chicken. If a bag of chips costs more than a drink, fries, and a sandwich, then we got to question the drink, the fries, and the sandwich. We got to question this stuff. So my point is that I talk about the 3 C's. Convenience and comfort lead to cowardice. Even technology makes things convenient for us, but it also makes us soft. It makes us weak. When I was coming up, you actually had to memorize people's phone numbers and memorize directions. Actually memorize streets. When I was coming up, we had to memorize these things. We had to know. Think about when you were younger, some of you all are my age, how many numbers you had in your head. You knew so many numbers by heart. Matter of fact, a girl could tell you a number and you will remember it. I grew up before a cell phone, so I remember a girl telling you a number and you could remember the number. And if you forgot a digit, you would go through trying to see if you got the last. Remember, you had all the numbers in the last digit. Okay, was it a 0? Was it, But Ms. Reed says, so with that said, what could be done? Well, what could be done is for us to come together and try to find some means to live together in peace. Not peace with the world, but peace with each other. The main thing is having land, and then having that land, you set up stuff on the land. I would love to get about a couple of 100 acres, and then allow people to come, set up shop. I think it says 5 acres can feed a family. So I mean, the bare minimum we'd be selling, 5 acres, or you live on the land, But my point is that having something that's sustainable and not just all dependent on the system. If push comes to shove, we can live without the system. Thank you, Namakula. But that's the goal. But that will take, and Molly talked about this, if we don't trust each other with simple stuff, how we trust each other with the big stuff? It's not going to happen. If we can't trust each other with small stuff, how we trust each other with something large as land, and like my life depends on you, your life depends on me. Like, we don't have that level of trust. And to me, it's hard to get it without having God as the center. That's why, to me, it's very important that we have that we be believers, because what's going to make anybody act right? Not human nature, not my own emotions and my own thoughts. No. But so that's what can be done. And I even thought about, I need to start just growing stuff in my own backyard. So that's my next goal, is just, it's hard for me going from a townhouse to a to a farm. I need to start crawling before I walk, taking some baby steps, get my hands dirty, put my hand in the soil, get on my hands and knees and till the earth to know what it's like. It's kind of arrogant of me to think I can just go from a townhouse to a farm. It's arrogant. So my goal is to start planting some and let me see it grow. Let me see if I can even do it. Let me accomplish something. Let me grow something. So that's where I am. That's where I am. But even though God has promises for his people, faith without works is dead. And it's impossible to please God without faith. So we know that part of pleasing God is working towards what we're believing in. So although God did give children of Israel manna from heaven, they still had to make the journey. But that manna from heaven didn't do them any good, because they ended up resenting it. There's something to be said about somebody having faith and working towards it that activates something in somebody's spirit. We labor and then we get rewarded. But just to get rewarded doesn't work. So faith without works is dead. Miss Godly said, I just grew collard greens, tomatoes and peppers and potatoes and cabbage and kale and watermelon and cantaloupe and string beans. That's awesome. That's what I'm talking about. Like Miss Godly is on the track because she's already growing stuff. And I say, man, you got to grow some. You can't just hop from the backyard to the farm. Now you gotta put in some work. So that's my goal. My boy, he sells like the grow beds. He makes his own soil and sells these grow beds. So I'm gonna get some of him. I'm gonna start building. I'm actually plant off the ground, but I'm just gonna have it set up in the back and see what comes of it. You know, and I wasn't going against you, Honeycut. I was just saying, about the faith without works. But let's continue.
Become a right-wing concept. You cannot say it, because if you say it, you are considered right-wing, and to be right-wing is to be in league with the forces of evil. Education was turned from being the transmission of a culture down through the generations into the overturning of a culture on the basis that the culture was illegitimate, racist, colonialist, and all the rest of it. And we are where we are.
So knowledge and wisdom are increasingly unacquainted.
I like what he said at the end. I'm play it again. I like what he said at the end, though.
Truth has become a right-wing concept. You cannot say it, because if you say it, you are considered right-wing, and to be right-wing is to be in league with the forces of evil. Education was turned from being the transmission of a culture down through the generations into the overturning of a culture on the basis that the culture was illegitimate, racist, colonialist, and all the rest of it. And we are where we are.
So knowledge and wisdom are increasingly unacquainted.
He said knowledge and wisdom are increasingly unacquainted. That means they don't know each other anymore, or they know each other less and less. So understand we're in a world now where people are getting information. They may be gaining knowledge, but what steers the ship is wisdom. The Bible says, in all thy getting, get understanding. So when it comes to information and it comes to knowledge, what steers that ship is wisdom. So you're able to discern what knowledge to use, what information to accept. But we're in an information age. Everybody's being overloaded with information, but they don't have any wisdom. That's going to create chaos. That's why we have what we have. And she said what they've done is they've attached the truth to the right. So if you make truth right wing, you make it white. And if you make truth white, you make it racist. And if you make truth racist, you made it bad. And if you make truth bad, now the lies, unfortunately, are good. Once people reject the truth, the lie becomes the gospel. God is the truth. Once you say, I reject the truth, now the lie is the gospel. And we know who the father of lies is. That is Satan. So now this machine has got most people in the world to serve Satan. They ain't even know it. You'd have to do one blood sacrifice. You'd have to do one ritual. The world got you all to worship Satan by simply telling you that the truth is on the right side of things, which is the white side of things, which is the bad side of things. We'll play it again.
Truth has become a right-wing concept. You cannot say it, because if you say it, you are considered right-wing, and to be right-wing is to be in league with the forces of evil. Education was turned from being the transmission of a culture down through the generations into the overturning of a culture on the basis that the culture was illegitimate, racist, colonialist, and all the rest of it. And we are where we are.
So knowledge and wisdom are increasingly unacquainted.
I love that quote. Now think about this for a second. In life, we know there is good and bad with everything. We know this. Even if fast food is bad, it still satisfies your hunger and it saves you time. It might take all time of your life, years down the road, but there's always a good and a bad with everything, right? So why is it when it comes to history, it's only bad if it's white? Imagine all these people upset with colonialism, upset with what they call imperialism, but actually benefiting from it to be able to even talk against it. Think about that. What people are complaining about is a system put in place that they're actually benefiting from by just being able to speak their mind. So my question is, how is it when we revisit history, how is it that everything white people did was bad and everything everybody else did was good? They don't tell you how bad African history was. They don't tell you how bad Native American history was. They don't tell you how bad South American history was. They don't tell you how bad Chinese history was. They only tell you one history is bad, and that's white. And if we can attach everything that is good and decent to white, then we can get the world to turn against God. That's what all this is about. That's what all of this is about. It goes no deeper than that. Everything that is good, we're going to put a white face on it. And if a white person wants to be good, then being good has to be bad. So if the truth is attached to white people, then that means the lies are attached to everybody that's not white. So now if a person has to pick between the truth or the lie, they're going to pick the lie because the truth is already racist. That's why they said math is racist. And we know that math is really God's language because 2 + 2 is always going to be 4. And 1 + 1 is 2. It's absolute. So if we can make math racist, if we can make a man really be a woman, if we can just get rid of all truth, now we can get you to worship Satan. You ain't got to walk down some long corridor holding a candle to worship Satan. All you got to do is choose the lie over the truth. And it's just that simple. All you got to do is know you're doing something wrong and do it anyway. Simple. Well, I know Oregon had the bill in 2021 where the governor of Oregon signed a bill at 1 a.m. in the morning when everybody was asleep, that there would be no high school graduate requirements for Black and brown students. I mean, the stuff these liberals do is so egregious that on Judgment Day, you're not going to be able to blame anybody, people. You are not going to be able to blame anybody on Judgment Day. I'm just telling you all that right now. Because God's going to reveal to you that you knew all this stuff was a lie. You knew it was BS. Wrong is right and right is wrong. But the only way to get right to be wrong is to attach right to white. Let's continue.
Men who have a uterus could menstruate.
A man has XY
sorry to be so rude. I apologize. But you're incorrect. Because we're talking about anatomy, biology. Like, if you were to have surgery, they need to know what sex you are. So women... That's why she ran off.
No, I said I was crossing at the next light.
This is very serious what's going on in America. They're indoctrinating students to go against their parents. And this is Marxism. This is socialism. I'm very familiar with it. And I want everybody to educate themselves.
But thank you for coming in, Angel. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, get the Bible study. Thank you, though. So think about this hypocrisy. Think about this for a second. Think about this for a second. In order to get the gender reassignment surgery, the doctor has to know what your gender is. Otherwise, what would the doctor change you into? Think about this. When you come in there and you say, I want to get my genitals mangled, I want to turn my genitals into spaghetti or a sloppy Joe, when you go in there and say that, the doctor has to know what your current gender is. Are you a man or a woman? The doctor has to know. The irony of you all acknowledging that you want the doctor to agree that you are this currently. So before you go under the knife, you let you and the doctor agree, and you agree with the world that you are a man or a woman. And then after the meat mangulation, then you come back and now you back in illusion again. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm gonna play it again.
Men who have a uterus could menstruate.
A man has XY. I'm sorry to be so rude. I apologize. But you're incorrect. Because we're talking about anatomy, biology. Like, if you were to have surgery, they need to know what sex you are. So women... That's why she ran off.
No, I said I was crossing at the next light.
This is very serious what's going on in America. They're indoctrinating students to go against their parents. And this is Marxism. This is socialism. I'm very familiar with it. And I want everybody to educate themselves.
I'm going to say it again, though, to drive home my point. When the person goes to the doctor to get reassignment surgery, the doctor has to acknowledge their current gender. So when the person is going to see the doctor, when the person is going through the counseling or taking the medication or whatever, during that whole period, that person is hit with reality. I am this, and I want to get changed to this. So the doctor's on board, the patient's on board, everybody's on board with that person being the gender they were born. Think about that. They go through a whole process before they turn that stuff down there into spaghetti. They go through a whole process before they turn that stuff down there into spaghetti, extra marinara, light on the meatballs. They go through a whole process. And they're talking about how they're going to change the current gender into something else. The irony of a person, before they go into that surgery, God is still giving them grace. God is still allowing them to see the truth. You're not what you say you are, because you got to acknowledge what you really are to get the surgery. So even in the most demonic act for a person to do, the most satanic act for a person to do, God is still giving them grace and letting them see the truth all the way up into the surgery. And then once they go through with the surgery, now they got to suffer the consequence. And the consequence is, you did something wrong. That's why the unaliving rate is so high among the transformers. Is because they know they did something wrong. They know. There has to be some kind of spiritual ramification for you tearing your genitals up. There has to be. There has to be something that happens to your spirit when you do that. It has to be. If there can be a soul tie through sex, if fornication is a sin against the physical body, and if our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, then that would mean that you mutilating your genitals has to have a spiritual ramification. It has to. Even taking the hormones would do it. But to go through with the whole procedure and just go down to your genitals and act like it's a hibachi grill and get the chopping and dicing and slicing, there has to be some kind of spiritual ramification. Has to be. But let's continue. I had another video. Is this it? Or is it this one? Let me see if it's this one.
For me, who is also a Christian, I take my responsibilities as a lawyer very seriously, and I endeavor to be a person of sound moral and ethical character in all of my dealings. In the wake of the 2020 presidential election, I believed that challenging the results on behalf of President Trump should be pursued in a just and legal way. I endeavored to represent my client to the best of my ability. I relied on others, including lawyers with many more years of experience than I, to provide me with true and reliable information, especially since my role involved speaking to the media and to legislators in various states. What I did not do, but should have done, Your Honor, was to make sure that the facts the other lawyers alleged to be true were in fact true. In the frenetic pace of attempting to raise challenges to the election in several states, including Georgia, I failed to do my due diligence. I believe in and I value election integrity. If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump in these post-election challenges. I look back on this whole experience with deep remorse. For those failures of mine, Your Honor, I have taken responsibility already before the Colorado bar who censured me, and I now take responsibility before this court and apologize to the people of Georgia. Thank you.
See how easy it is to just sell your soul? It's not hard. Do you think these people that are up in front of us have any kind of integrity, honor, or care? They don't. You see how easy it is just to sell your soul? You see how easy it is to lie? Whether she was threatened or paid off, we can agree that the left controls the narrative, the left controls the propaganda, the left controls the media. The left controls the culture. The left controls society. The left controls public opinion. You see how easy it is for her to get up there and cry but not shed one tear? What did she see that made her want to represent Trump in the first place? Did she see a lie? She didn't say what I saw was untrue. What made you take the case in the first place? What evidence? She pled guilty. That's all they want. All they want to be able to say is, everybody pled guilty, Trump is guilty. That's all they want. Listen, the left controls everything. I don't listen to people talking about this stuff because I already know most folks are stupid. I'm sorry. And they're not stupid because they're mentally challenged. They don't have any character. When you don't have any character, you can't assess things properly. What does the right control? Nothing. What do conservatives control? Nothing. So what they're telling you is that if it's the truth, you're going to get punished for telling it. And it sounds so good when it's a conservative. And it sounds so good when it's a white person, but boy, you know that black folks are not going to do well when they get accused of stuff they didn't do. You know that black folks, when the tables turn and black folks are getting this kind of stuff done to them, they are not going to handle it well at all. You're going to see tantrums. You're going to see falling out. You're going to see burst of violence. You're going to see all kind of crazy stuff. Everybody's calm because it's happening to white people. It's good. We can sit back and chill. But boy, oh boy, you saw how folks acted during the Peter pandemic, how black folks acted. Black folks tucked their head down and minded their business. Not a protest in sight. But what's going to happen when they come to you and they say, you said this on such and such a date? I didn't mean it like that. Don't matter. I was being sarcastic. That's just what we say. Don't matter. It's going to be tough. It's going to get tough. Rena said, I get into it with my black family every day. I know. Every time I know. Conservatives seem spineless because most people don't have any character. I don't care what side of the aisle they're on. Most people do not have any character. Most people are very cowardly. And conservatives are no different. You see, conservatives actually believe in the system. The liberals don't. The liberals know if the system was left alone, they'd be on the outs because they're so foolish. The liberals don't believe in the system. That's why they want to destroy it. Conservatives believe in stuff like values and morals, free market. No, liberals don't believe in it, so they want to destroy it. And instead of conservatives adopting a more formidable fight or strategy, they just think they're going to be able to rest on their morals and standards. It's going to be okay. Some knight is going to come save the day. The true Americans will rise up. That ain't going to happen. Most people don't have any character. Most people are spineless. And conservatives are living off of 50 years ago. It's 2023. It's 2023. A black person can call you racist and you lose everything. The tables have turned. A black person can call a white person racist and they lose everything. The tables have turned. Let's continue.
Salvador, who turned that country from the murder capital of the world to 300 homicide-free days.
The demise of the U.S. has to come from within. Right? The enemies have to be inside, not really outside. No external enemy can cause so much damage as internal. It's an internal operation. When you're watching internal operations here, you can see them in cities that were pristinely beautiful 30 years ago are wastelands right now. You would see people, I mean, I'm from El Salvador, third world country in Central America. And myself, I can see cities here and say, I want to live here. So that would be unthinkable 3 decades ago. Totally unthinkable. That a Salvadoran wouldn't want to live in a U.S. city, in a U.S. main city. I mean, Los Angeles, San
New York,
Francisco,
Chicago, yeah.
Well, Philadelphia, Baltimore. When you look how the cities are eroding so fast, this has to be by design. I mean, who would make so many stupid decisions? Like, okay, we're gonna give you money for drugs. But really, they're doing that. In some cities, they're giving people drugs. I mean, they're literally giving people drugs in some U.S. cities. Or they say, okay, we're gonna give you money if you don't work. Or we're gonna, They make all of these laws that make no sense.
So my question is, if conservatives are truly conservatives, then how is this stuff going down? How can it be so egregious to where you would pay somebody to be homeless? You would give a drug addict drugs. You would give somebody homeless or on drugs a cell phone. You would give them a free housing. Like, how does this stuff go down? If conservatives are really conservatives, how does this stuff go down? I'll tell you, because conservatives have one major flaw, and that is arrogance. Conservatives think this stuff is beneath them, but they underestimate the decadence of society. They underestimate how much character has been lost in the average man and woman and child. So 50 years ago, yeah, your thought was right on. But today, when the liberals are speaking, the decadent are listening. So at the end of the day, conservatives have to get more savvy. A few of videos from Cutting Through the Culture have gone viral, but the more recent ones that have gone viral have been the ones of Chad talking. And I told Chad, when you isolate the content, the people are going to hear the truth. So Chad's videos, and I told him, when you show how you grew up and you show that black family and you show the imagery, but you're talking about the values, and then you tell the people, I haven't sold out because I still do and believe in those things. You sold out because you don't. That's powerful. I've seen Chad's videos going viral on even the Hebrew Israelites pages, on the woke people's pages, because when you isolate the content, people are going to hear the truth. And when I say isolate the content, I mean the content is played without that chatter from a woke black weekend warrior, from a liberal. There's no chatter. It's just the content. The reason why most of the conservative talking points get drowned out is because they're always presented with the chatter. But if it's isolated, like when Larry Elder was isolated on the Breakfast Club, it went viral. So again, conservatives are going to have to get more savvy. But that's going to take humility. Conservatives must acknowledge they are losing this culture war. And we need help. They should be soliciting help from people like the folks on Cutting Through the Culture. You got people that were in black culture their whole life. You got us to use and say, okay, bring us to the drawing board. Because the problem is that conservative strategy don't work today. It's too decadent. What the president of El Salvador is saying is 1,000% correct. What's being done to these cities is intentional, but it's also being done on conservatives' watch. And for as much as the liberals went against Donald Trump, the conservatives could just expose the liberals with the truth. The beautiful thing about the conservative side is that you don't have to stoop to the left's level. You don't have to lie, cheat, and steal. You can actually just tell the truth. Just find a clever way to do it. The benefit the conservatives have is they can just tell the truth and just do it in a creative way, and it'll have the greatest impact. But you got to be humble to do that. And frankly, most conservatives are too arrogant. I know the power these folks have. I know when Kamala speaks, millions are listening. Kamala's rounding up about 8 demographics. She's rounding up women. She's rounding up trans. She's rounding up gays. She's rounding up liberal white. She rounding up about 8 demographics when she speaks. Tucker Carlson isn't. Candace Owens isn't. Sorry to say it. These people are rounding up multiple demographics when they open their mouth. When Joe Biden speaks, Kamala Harris, Big Mike, or Barack, if any of them open their mouth, they're rounding up about 8 demographics. When a conservative speaks, most of the time they're rounding up 1 demographic. And that demographic is a conservative person. They ain't pulling nobody else new in. What's up, Rocky Moments to Love? Anyway, let's continue. I think I'm going to end right here. So, I guess in conclusion, the show is the show, and the show is designed to entertain. At the end of the day, this Israel and Hamas Palestine conflict is entertainment. It's entertainment. People will say, well, Blanche, how could you say that? There's a script. There are multiple scripts involved, multiple cameras and camera angles, multiple millions of dollars, maybe even billions, are pumped into you seeing this conflict either one or two ways, either from the side of the Palestinians or the side of the Israelis. Anytime they ask you to choose, you know it's a setup. Because for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. We know that Israel is the juggernaut for this 4th industrial revolution, for this 5G. They are the juggernauts behind all of this. The whole world will be connected through this 4th industrial revolution, through this 5G. And just coincidentally, conveniently, Israel is leading the way with an already built-in way to be hacked. Wouldn't it be wonderful? Get everybody online together, and then it's a big cyber attack. Now they got to issue global martial law. When we going to learn, y'all? When are we going to learn? When are we going to learn that the devil deals with illusions? If the truth shall set you free, then why would they tell you the truth? Just think about it. If the truth equals freedom, why would they ever tell you the truth? Listen, I love you all. Thank y'all so much. I will be back on Friday, maybe. Probably back on Friday. But listen, I love you all. Thank you all so much for the badges and the super stickers. I love you all so much. Thank you so much. But guess what, you all? The beauty in all of this is we're going to make it. I don't have a doomsday tale to give you all. We're going to make it. The Bible says that 10,000 fell to my right, 1,000 fell to my. We gonna make it. I don't know about anybody else, but we gonna make it. So we gonna trust God and we gonna make it. And when it's time to go, we gonna leave on God's terms, that expected end. We ain't let nobody rush our departure. We gonna make it. And so if God gives us the desires of our heart, then our hearts desire freedom. So again, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. And I will see you all soon. Thank you.